So far in my World of Warcraft journey, I have leveled 3 entire characters, my warrior, my mage, and my beautiful druid. Each having their own entirely different leveling experience. I also decided to try out the horde side of things with my rogue, which has been great so far. However, we have put the horde adventure on pause for now because I recently gained the need for a hunter. But what could I possibly need a hunter so badly for? Well, that's a story for another time. So for now, it's time to return to the Alliance once more as I attempt to level my first ever hunter alongside my trusty pet, Gerald. Last time was my first time playing a hunter, and it was all about learning the basics of the class. We powered through the Night Elf spawn zone and Teldrassil until we got to level 10, where we could learn how to tame our first pet. We also explored Darkshore for the first time and of course went through Westfall, where we ended by taking on the Deadmines and we got a nice little weapon upgrade. For today, I have set myself the goal of completing a run of our second dungeon, which is none other than the Stormwind Stockades. To start the day off, I decided to go back into the Deadmines for a couple of runs. Now that was for a couple of different reasons. Firstly, we were level 19 and the weapon I had managed to get myself last time requires level 20 to equip, so I wanted to quickly do that before heading out to another zone to quest. Secondly, because I wanted the Cape of the Brotherhood. This cloak would give us a very nice 6 agility, and agility is absolutely insane for us, and this would last for a good long while. So we take down Mr. Smite and Captain Greenskin and move on to the final boss of the dungeon, Edwin Van Cleef, who is the boss that can drop the cloak we are after. Now as a group, we decided that we would just nuke down Edwin, which can be pretty risky, and well, I could see that we were about to wipe, so I quickly looted Van Cleef to see what dropped, and well, we didn't get it this time. And I'm glad I did loot it, because we actually never went back to kill Captain Cookie. Now after one run, I wasn't quite level 20 yet, so I decided to jump back in for one last run, and I said to myself that this would be the last run. If I didn't get the cloak now, I'm not going to go back in. So once again, we kill Mr. Smite and Captain Foreskin, and by the time we got to Edwin, someone had left the party. So once again, we decided to just nuke Edwin, which would almost certainly result in death. So I quickly looted the corpse again, and the cape dropped. And we were rolling against 3 other people, but we win the cloak. Oh yes, that is huge. Now, before we head off into the world a bit to grind some XP, our last run did happen to get us to level 20, so I paid a visit to the Weapon Master in Stormwind and he taught us how to use polearms. And I gotta say, I was very disappointed with the appearance because it is literally just a stick. And one last thing before heading out, I paid a visit to the Hunter Trainer where I updated every single one of my abilities. Now, my original plan was to head into Ashenvale, since I hadn't done a massive amount of questing there before, but I wasn't quite high enough level for all of the quests yet, so instead I decided to head into Redridge Mountains, an absolutely beautiful zone with a solid amount of quests to keep us busy, so I hopped on a bird and made my way over there. This zone really is incredibly cool. It has cozy buildings and a natural atmosphere. What more could you possibly want from a World of Warcraft zone? I picked up all of the nearby quests and I got to work, starting with the easiest of all of them, having a swim around in the lake to find a lost necklace. Next, I went to the other part of the lake to slay murlocs and retrieve a lost toolbox. How you drop a toolbox into the center of a giant lake is beyond me. I then attempted to get started with the Redridge goulash, collecting tough condor meat, but for whatever reason, the drop chance on the meat is so incredibly low. So I skipped doing that for now until we could head up north where more would spawn. And as I was passing, I started taking down murlocs for their fins, which was nice and easy since most of them were a lot lower level than I am. I then went to the south of the zone where I quickly picked up spider meat and gore tusk snouts before I began my rampage on the gnolls, killing 10 gnoll mongrels and 6 gnoll poachers, which wasn't too hard at all. And huge shout out to this pig because his sacrifice got us to level 21, but we were still far from done in Redridge. I then went north where I of course located located many more condors, I then attempted to do one of the other gnoll murder quests. But Questy is such a liar, because it's telling me that this quest is suitable for players around the level 23 mark. But most of the mobs here are level 25, 26 and 27. I feel betrayed. So I ended up just skipping that quest for now and instead went to do the other gnoll quest, having us kill gnolls for iron pikes and iron rivets, which was far easier quest than the other one. And finally, I paid a visit to the smelly orcs up north so that I could kill them and steal their axes, which I definitely did completely flawless. So I turned in the last of my quests and well, that was it for Redridge. The only quests left were the elite quests, which I didn't really feel like trying to locate a group for, so I decided to pack it up and start making my way towards Ashenvale. Now I have done Ashenvale before, but just once, and I remember skipping over a few of the quests, so I was looking forward to exploring what I had missed. Before I could make it to Astronar, I quickly stopped off at the side of the road to visit an NPC called Talon, who was offering quests. Pretty simple, we just needed to collect a statuette that was surrounded by a couple of sea snakes. His follow-up quest wanted me to go to the little island up north, but since that was a level 25 quest, I decided to just skip it for now and start journeying down to Astronar. But once again, I was distracted by another pretty annoying quest. We needed to weave in and out of undead mobs and collect hair plants, but eventually we make it to Astronar and I began collecting all of the available quests. So I headed out a bit towards this murloc infested pond because there was another quest giver who offered us the simple task of collecting a glowing gem from the surrounding murlocs. I then had to go back to the beach where I originally came from and slay wrathtails and tear off their heads. And this is where I saw my first horde player. That little voice in the back of my head kept saying, "Attack him." But you know, he was just minding his own business and I was just questing, so I decided to just leave him alone and he also left me alone. So I finished up the quest and made my way back to Astronar, and I couldn't help but feel like I'd forgotten something. I just couldn't remember what, until I looked over at my other monitor and I remembered that I was supposed to go to Loch Modan like 5 levels ago and get another pet, a boar. So I purchased myself a portal to Ironforge and began making the lengthy trip to Loch Modan. Now when I got to Loch Modan, I was actually somewhat upset that I had skipped this zone because I remembered just how much I loved it. Everything about it is perfect. The buildings, the atmosphere, and the quests all work together very well. But you know, I guess that's just more to look forward to on the next character. So I made my way over to the very east side of the zone where I found my new pet, peacefully grazing in the grass. Little does he know he's about to become my servant for the next 25 levels. Now you might be asking, how can I just abandon Gerald like that? Well, don't worry, for I have transferred Gerald's spirit into this very pig, and he seems to be very happy in his new body. Kind of. And since I was here, I decided to complete the only quest in the zone that wasn't grey yet. Kill trogs and collect stone idols off of their corpses. And I gotta say, I think trogs have officially earned the title of the second ugliest mob in the game, behind the harpies of course. So now I actually had a couple of leveling options. I could either go back to Ashenvale and finish that off, or I could put Ashenvale on pause and head over to the Wetlands. And well, since I was right here, I thought I might as well just go to the Wetlands. So I made the long and treacherous journey to Menethil Harbour and collected every quest in sight. I started here with killing some more gnolls, and I gotta say, this was a very annoying questing session because I was high enough level to be here. However, stupid new Gerald was not. He was only level 16, so I kept taking aggro off of Gerald and dying over and over again. But I decided to just tough it out anyway. After killing a bunch of gnolls, I then went on a slime rampage to try and find Sida's bag. Now I like the idea of this quest. The slime has consumed the bag and you've got to sift through all the slime to try and locate it. However, this quest took a stupidly long amount of time to complete because it just would not drop. And lastly, I had to go and kill more murlocs. Now you might be thinking that I've skipped over tons of the quests here, like the crocodile killing ones and stuff. Well no, I actually did do them, but I'll be totally honest, I think I deleted the first half of this zone by mistake. That's okay, because I could now turn in all of the quests and head back over to Ashenvale. We started Ashenvale basically where we left off. The west side of the zone was completed, so I went east and headed into the camp of the Foulwield, where we needed to run around and slay a load of these humanoid bear thingies, where I also teamed up with a friendly druid and his hunter friend, and we smashed through the quest nice and quickly. We then headed south to this pond that looked like a giant moonwell. Here we needed to slay water elementals for bracers, and to be honest, after this quest we were pretty much done with Ashenvale. There was a couple of much higher level quests to get done, but obviously I can't really do those right now. But in my quest log I had a couple of quests that would require me to head over into Talon Mountains, so I headed over to the little cave and made my way through the mountain. Now I actually really like Talon Mountains, which is strange because it's very similar to the Barrens, and well, I'm yet to meet a single person who likes the Barrens. And there's also not a huge amount of alliance quests to get done, but there is a couple, and hopefully by the end of them I will be high enough level to run the stockades. First up, I needed to head down to the Ventrico lumberyard area and kill Ventrico employees. Now this area of Stone Talon is fantastic. When I think Stone Talon, this is exactly what I think of. Goblins cutting down trees in a broken forest, surrounded by massive goblin machinery and small streams of water. Now I noticed on my map that there was a quest giver inside of this cave, and I started having flashbacks to my rogue and was hesitant to enter at first. But you know what? I thought, I'm on a hunter now. It's a broken class, I should be completely fine. And then I remembered almost immediately why I didn't go inside. Because what appears to be just a lone kobold is actually 5 more of them hiding around the corners waiting to jump you. So, can you really blame me for skipping that quest? So instead, I turned in the 2 quests that I was able to complete and began making my way up north towards the flight point, where I passed a rather long snaking train of mid-level mages that were wearing no gear. But before I got all the way up north, I had to stop to complete the only other quest that I had for this area, which was to run around and kill Pridewings for their venom sacs, which took quite a while to be honest. But in the end, we got it done. And I had made my way all the way north where I could discover another flight point and turn in my final quest for Talon Mountains. We were now level 24, which should be high enough level for the stockades, but we were literally just teetering on the end of it, and I wanted to quickly get to level 25 since it would be much more appealing for people looking for DPS. So I decided that it was about time I got started with leveling my herbalism skill since I was so far behind with it. And just by sheer chance, I was able to get to level 25 by simply just discovering new parts of the map, which means it's definitely time for the Stormwind Stockades. So I quickly picked up all of the nearby dungeon quests and headed straight in. Now, let's be honest, there really isn't much to talk about when it comes to this dungeon. It's 20 minutes of killing 93 mobs that look identical to each other, and to top that off, there is practically zero loot to get from here. The only really notable thing would be the Defias Renegade Ring, which would offer 3 agility and 3 stamina. But it's a BOE, and they cost practically nothing on the auction house. So if I really wanted, I could just go and buy 2. And in fact, that's exactly what I did right after this dungeon. Now I was actually expecting to have to do 2 runs in order to get the quests done, but once we reached the end of our run, we actually did get them all done, which to be honest, I was thankful for, because the stockades is just a miserable experience. I guess on the bright side though, it's quick, it's easy, and it's extremely accessible to anyone who wants to do it. I hope you all enjoyed today's video because I enjoyed making it. So a few things before we end. Firstly, I just wanted to give a quick follow up on the fire that happened in my house. For anyone that doesn't know, my house was involved in a fire and I lost most of everything. But things are starting to look up now. We've had people coming in and out of the house for several weeks, and it's looking like everything is going to be replaced and we will be getting a new roof and stuff. But the only thing is time. I'm going to be living in the house that I'm currently sat in for about a year. But, you know, it's not too bad, it's small, but it's cozy enough. Second thing, you can now become a channel member. For now, you'll get access to loyalty badges that I had made and this custom emoji thingy, and members will be in charge of picking future videos and stuff, like what classes to play next, etc, etc. If you guys have any more ideas for what else we could do with the members feature, please feel free to let me know in the comments. As for content, I've got another druid video in the works, which I think I'm probably just going to be continuously making alongside leveling videos and whatever else I decide to make. But anyway, I think that's enough yapping for today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later.